1 year ago, the comic world was ablaze with excitement. Fans were ecstatic over X-Men 97 sending the aftermarket into a frenzy for all things mutant. Collectors eagerly sought out key issues. Rogue's first appearance saw a significant increase in demand. Madeline Pry's key issues also experienced a surge in popularity, and Mr. Sinister's comics became highly sought after by many. However, X-Men wasn't the sole driving force in the market last year. It was around this time that Marvel Rivals first began to influence the market. This initial impact of Marvel Rivals has become an increasingly frequently occurrence in the comic landscape today. Looking back, X-Men books dominated the charts, proving just how much of an impact the animated series had on the market. But it wasn't all mutants. Marvel Rivals started making waves, setting the stage for its continued influence today. Alongside these heavy hitters, some fan favorite titles also climbed the ranks, showing that nostalgia and speculation went hand in hand throughout April 2024. Hey guys, it's me, Izzy, with Comics with IzzyVerse NYC, and this is your weekly Cover Price Top 10 Comics Rewind, where we're going to take a look at the titles that used to be in demand in the market and figure out where they stand today. Let's rewind 1 year ago to April 2024, the year of the X-Men. Collectors were wild about these comic books, and let's find out if these books are still hot, or is it over 1 year later. Remember to like this video and subscribe to Cover Price's channel. Also, turn on notifications to stay up to date on the latest comic book news. Let's get to our first book. Number 10, Avengers Twilight #1, Marvel 2024. Back in April 2024, this book was playing a game of musical chairs between the runner-up spots and the top 10 list, constantly swapping places with Avengers Twilight #3. That issue, of course, introduced James Stark in armor, Tony Stark's son, making it a big deal for both comic fans and MCU speculators. But let's be real, Marvel has a habit of pulling deep cuts from the comics for live action, so anything tied to Stark's name has potential. But here's where things get interesting. The market can't seem to make its mind up. A near mint raw copy of this book sold for $21 last year, but lately some sales have dipped as low as $10, which is clearly a bust. On the flip side, rated 9.8 copies are creeping up, with one selling for $56 earlier this year and another recently hitting $60. A small but notable boom. So what's the move here? Is James Stark's first appearance a long-term hold, or is it just another quick hype cycle? With Marvel, you never really know. So it's worth keeping it on the radar. For now though, this book is a definition of a split market. A year ago, Avengers Twilight was on fire thanks to all the community buzz. It's a 6-issue miniseries that takes place in a nightmare version of America where the wrong person is in charge. And surprise, everything goes downhill fast. It's got that Kingdom Come vibe, but with a Captain America twist. So is it worth checking out? Absolutely. If you're in it just for the story. It has some great writing and absolutely awesome art, and it's a solid read. But is it for collectors? Sure, why not? If you like it, grab it, but don't expect this one to be a long-term powerhouse. Number 9, Avengers Annual number 10, Marvel Comics, 1981. When X-Men 97 took off last year, Rogue shot back up the charts, landing on our top 10 list once again. The show was a massive hit, giving plenty of love to the key members of the team, including Rogue, whose first appearance is in this issue. Her relationship with Magneto became a major storyline, and fans love how the show balanced the action with the personal struggles that makes the X-Men so relatable. But here's the thing, nostalgia and hype can only carry a book for so long. During the show's first season, a near mint raw copy of this book was selling at $130, and a CGC 9.8 hit a high of $750. Moving forward a year, And as we all wait for season 2, prices have cooled. Raw near mint copies are now selling for $87, and 9.8s have dipped to $540. That's a bust for now. That said, this drop isn't huge, and Rogue isn't going anywhere. She's a fan favorite with real staying power. If X-Men 97 keeps delivering, or she gets a big live action moment, don't be surprised if this book heats up all over again.
Rogue isn't just another character, she's an icon. The sassy Southern Belle has been one of the most beloved X-Men for decades. So, a price drop? Yeah, it happened. But that doesn't mean this book is down for the count. Market dips happen all the time, but Rogue's first appearance will always have a strong fan base behind it. If you're lucky to grab a copy, now might actually be the perfect time before the hype ramps up again, because let's be real, whether it's X-Men 97 or a future MCU debut, Rogue isn't fading into the background anytime soon.
Number 8, Supervillain Team Up number 5, Marvel Comics, 1976. Every now and then a key book randomly blows up on the chart with no major rumors or news to back it up. That's exactly what happened with Shroud's first appearance. It just started heating up out of nowhere. Often called Marvel's answer to Batman, the Shroud was literally designed to be a Dark Knight-style character, and his creator, Steve Englehart, has never been shy about saying so. He's had run-ins with heavy hitters like the Fantastic Four, Captain America, Spider-Man, and Spider-Woman. But despite all that history, he never really broke out into the mainstream. Even his recent addition as a playable character in Marvel Rivals wasn't enough to keep the momentum going. Last year, a raw near mint copy of this book sold for $49, and a graded 9.6 hit $269. Fast forward to today, and those prices have tanked. Raw copies are now going for just $17, and a 9.6 have dropped to $107. That's a bust across the board. So what caused last year's spike?
Now we know that the sudden hype around Shroud came from a rumor that he was set to take over the new Moon Knight in the comics. But that didn't last long. Mark Spector was back in action by July, making the Shroud's time in the spotlight a brief 2-month stint. At the end of the day, the Shroud is a character most people don't know. And guess what? That probably is going to stay that way.
Number 7, X-Men 200, Marvel Comics, 1985. Another book that took off thanks to X-Men 97 was this issue, which got a boost because of Magneto's bold purple costume with the giant M across his chest. Marvel followed through on its promise to shake things up, reintroducing Magneto in a new role as the X-Men's headmaster, debuting in the exact outfit featured on this cover. At the peak of the hype last year, a near mint raw copy was selling for $21, and a graded 9.8 hit $160. But since this isn't a major key, it's no surprise that prices have dropped. More recently, near mint raws have been going for just $8, and a 9.8 has fallen to $65. Both clear busts. Magneto is set to play a big role in X-Men 97 Season 2, but whether we'll see this costume again, that's still up in the air.
Let's be real, costume changes don't usually move the needle in the collector's market. Unless your name is Spider-Man, of course. That said, this anniversary issue got a boost thanks to X-Men 97 and the trial of Magneto, which played out in the episode of the animated series. But as of today, doesn't hold much weight in the market. It's got some great visuals, but that's about it.
Galactica, Daughter of Galactus, number 1, Marvel Comics, 2010. Last year, Marvel teamed up with NetEase Games to drop a trailer for Marvel Rivals, a new team-based superhero PvP shooter. And man, did it blow up. Fans and gamers were all over it, hyped by the gameplay, the roster of playable characters, and a surprise tease that caught a lot of people off guard. Galactica. Now, if you didn't know who she was, you weren't alone. But those who did quickly sent her key issues skyrocketing. Galactica, the daughter of Galactus, technically made her first appearance in Marvel Assistant Size Spectacular #2, but oddly enough, this issue has been selling for more. Probably because non-collectors got mixed up on which book is actually her debut. Last year, a near mint raw copy was selling for $60, but demand has only gone up. A recent near mint raw hit $75, making this a boost. Currently, we don't really have any reported news on graded copies. However, a 9.4 just went for $145 and a near mint plus copy reached $190, showing that this book is still on fire. And with Marvel Rivals rolling out its Galactic Cosmic Adventure event, interest in her is only getting stronger.
Marvel Rivals is blowing up right now, and we're just getting started. It feels like every day a new book sees a sales boost just from being mentioned in the game. Galactica's role has played a big part in that hype. That said, while this is definitely a push, proceed with caution. Video game hype doesn't last forever, and neither might this book's momentum.
Number 5, Spawn #1, Image Comics, 1992. This comic is one of the best sellers of all time, consistently holding a top spot even without any new developments. It's one of those iconic first appearances that collectors can't seem to get enough of, and surprisingly, it's still pretty affordable. That mix of demand and accessibility keeps it moving steadily in the aftermarket, with big sales popping up every few weeks. Not long ago, a near mint raw copy went for $22, while a graded 9.8 sold for $120. More recently, the near mint raw hit $23 and a 9.8 dipped slightly to $115. It's a steady push, with prices fluctuating just a bit, but overall, this book continues to hold its value year after year.
The highest selling independent comic book of all time. 350 plus issues later, and Spawn is still going strong. This is one of those books you can't help but wonder, when will it make it to the list again? And the answer is usually pretty soon. Every time Todd McFarlane shows up at a convention, it keeps Spawn in the spotlight. That said, don't go overpaying for this one, since there are literally millions of copies out there.
Number 4, X-Men 239, Marvel Comics, 1988. Hopefully you've caught X-Men 97 by now. The next entries on our list are all tied to the series, and this one comes with spoilers, so you've been warned. Since the show was announced, fans have been buzzing about Mr. Sinister being a big villain. But what really took everyone by surprise was the debut of the Goblin Queen. These villains made a dramatic entrance in the early episodes, which also introduced Cyclops and Jean Grey's baby, Nathan, aka Cable. This issue is a double key featuring the first cover appearance of both Mr. Sinister and Madeline Pry as the Goblin Queen. The excitement around their debut sent prices soaring, with a near mint raw selling for $25 and a graded 9.8 reaching $205. But like most X-Men 97 books, demand has cooled a bit since season 1 wrapped. A recent near mint raw sold for $20 and a 9.8 dropped to $125, making both a bust. Still, it's not a massive drop in interest, and at these prices, it could easily bounce back and even surpass the numbers once animated or live action rolls out. Mr. Sinister and Madeline Pry are set to return in season 2, so it'd be interesting to see if these books pick up steam again.
I remember a few years ago when all the hype was around Mr. Sinister making his debut in the Fox X-Men universe. Obviously, that didn't really go anywhere after Disney acquired Fox and the X-Men. But I bring this up because Sinister is a character with huge potential to show up in an MCU project. And especially with the possibility of Madeline Pry, aka the Goblin Queen, also making waves. These two characters are so deeply tied into X-Men lore, and we saw a preview of their dynamic in X-Men 97. It's definitely possible both could pop up soon, maybe in a live action movie.
Number 3, X-Men number 4, Marvel Comics, 1992. Here we go again. This is one of those books we covered last week in our 4-year reflection, and it's here again from 1 year ago. The market is oddly obsessed with Omega Red, and sure, it makes sense. Omega Red has been a fan favorite X-Men villain since his debut, with collectors chasing his first appearance long before X-Men 97 hit screens. However, with the show's release, interest in X-Men books surged across the board. Beyond the show, last year Datamine leaked of the highly anticipated Wolverine video game revealed a list of villains, including Omega Red. While he made a brief cameo in X-Men 97 Season 1, there was no indication that he would return. Last year, a near mint raw copy sold for $20, while this year, a near mint raw went for $19. A bust, though, by only $1. However, a real bust came in grade sales. A CGC 9.8 that sold for $367 last year recently dropped to $89. Will Omega Red ever see another spike? The fact that the man has been around since 2021 suggests probably, hence the yo-yo effect on this 90s key. Ultimately, his future in the Wolverine game or a larger X-Men storyline could turn things around. But for now, the market has cooled.
I said this last week and I'll say it again. Omega Red is a really cool character with a lot of potential, especially when you think about how his story could be used in today's political climate. The whole idea of a Russian supervillain with ties to the Soviet Union has a lot of weight right now, given current global tensions. You could do a lot with that, whether it's exploring espionage, the fallout of the Cold War, or even a darker side of the super soldier program. But here's the thing, I don't think we're going to see him just yet. It's not that Omega Man doesn't have the potential to make an impact, it's just that the timing may not be right.
Number 2, X-Men 221, Marvel Comics, 1987. Much like the number 4 spot, Mr. Sinister was a top mover last April, thanks to his return in X-Men 97. His role was pretty crucial, especially when it came to the origins of Nathan Summers, otherwise known as Cable. While he wasn't the main villain of the season, he definitely had a strong presence and fans were eating it up. That excitement got collectors rushing to grab key issues featuring this sinister scientist. Last year, a near mint raw copy sold for $83, while a graded 9.8 hit $285. Fast forward to this year, and prices have dipped. Near mint raw copies are now going for around $40, and a 9.8 has dropped to $190. So yeah, the hype has cooled off a little, making this book more of a slight bust. But with season 2 just around the corner, this book could still bounce back and find new life.
The first appearance of Mr. Sinister should definitely be on many X-Men collectors' lists. He's just one of those pure evil, devious characters, hence the name, Mr. Sinister. A book like this, given its current price, could actually be a solid long-term spec. Like other books on this list, it might be a bust for now, but it's definitely a push for later.
Number 1, X-Men 168, Marvel Comics, 1983. This time last year, nearly all the top spots were on the list dominated by X-Men 97 hype, and this issue, which marks the first appearance of Madeline Pry, was no exception. Fans rushed to grab a copy, and at its peak of excitement, a near mint raw copy sold for $13, while a graded 9.8 hit $239. Fast forward to now, and the story's a bit different. A near mint raw just sold for $15, while a CGC 9.8 dropped by half to $127, which definitely puts this one in the bust territory. While the hype has cooled off, Madeline Price is still an important character to the X-Men universe. With her return expected in Season 2, there's still potential for the market to bounce back.
X-Men 97 definitely took some liberties with Madeline Price's character, but I argue they did it better than we saw in the comics. She's such an intriguing character with so much potential to build on, whether it's her relationship with Scott, her connection to her son Cable, or even her dynamics with Jean Grey. There's so much to work with here. She's definitely shouldn't be wasted. While I love the Goblin Queen persona, it's really Madeline Price's role that has me most interested. This book is still fairly affordable, so it's a great grab at a reasonable price. This week's list is definitely X-Men heavy, and I'm all for it. I grew up reading X-Men, and it was the top book through the 80s, 90s, and into the 2000s. X-Men 97 also brought a nostalgic rush with some awesome callbacks to the original comic. I'm really looking forward to Season 2 and beyond. This month's top 10 highlights the ever-changing comic book market, where hype-driven spikes often cool off. X-Men 97 is still a big force, but many of the key books tied to the series have started to dip as the initial excitement fades. Some books like Avengers Twilight #1 are showing mixed results, falling raw sales, but rising graded values, while speculative picks like Supervillain Team Up #5 couldn't keep the momentum going. Meanwhile, Spawn #1 continues its steady aftermarket performance, proving that some keys hold value because of fan loyalty rather than media hype. On the other end, Galactica, Daughter of Galactus, had to defy expectation, shooting way past projections. It is a perfect example of how unpredictable collector demand can be, especially when fueled by a niche character speculation. With X-Men 97 Season 2, Marvel Rivals, and the Wolverine video games, and the potential MCU announcements on the horizon, next wave of market movement is just around the corner. Thanks for tuning in to this week's Top 10 Look Back from Cover Price. And please don't forget to slam that like button. And if you like what you see, subscribe to Cover Price's YouTube channel for more weekly content, including the top 10 comics, Shaker Report, and the comics covered with co-founders Matt and John. And make sure you check out COVRPRICE.com to see what's on their current top 10 and the various trending movers and shakers. Thank you for watching, and be sure to visit my YouTube channel, Comics with IzzyVerse NYC, for comic conversations, speculation, and convention coverage. Join us next week as we take a look back at April from 2 years ago. See you then. Excelsior.